Hey guys, so I'm making this video because I'm going to start making gaming videos and I wanted to see what you guys wanted to see and what game or games you wanted me to play. So in this video I'm going to be showing some options that are going to be available. Keep in mind there will be other options. I will be putting a poll either in the top right corner by the eye icon or in the description. Now, one of the options would be Arma 3. Now, Arma 3 is a FPS combat simulator, I guess you could say. It's really realistic. It's got a lot of stuff. I most definitely would be using mods with this because while the game offers a lot, there are some things that mods offer more of. And I could also cover other periods, like not just modern day, but World War II and Vietnam, which they're really good mods for those two wars. The map is huge, as you can see. The maps in Arma are always generally huge and really well detailed. Which is one of my favorite things about them, is that you can do so many different missions on one map and still not have to all of the map. You can learn the locations, but you'll never fully be able to know a map off by heart, like down to every little thing, because there's so much. But it's one of those really realistic games, and that's one of the things I really like about it. Is realism, because I'm that kind of gamer. I like my realism. I also would be mainly just doing the editor. I've only actually played on the editor, which is basically me making a bunch of missions because there are so many different types and different ways I can make missions. Yeah, that is Arma, and there's a lot that I could do, and yeah. So another option would be Mount & Blade Warband. Now this, I think, would have to be a campaign game recording, a series, simply because while custom battles offer some, it's just not, big enough. For those of you who don't know, Mount & Blade Warband is quite an old game, that's why the graphics aren't amazing. It's like 2012 or something, I think. I'm not certain. I can't recall off the top of my head. But it's still commonly played because the game's pretty good. Mod-wise, I would say I play a couple mods just to explore some things, because there are some really good mods that explore different eras in different parts of history, even though the game is not set in any historical time period or actual place in the real world. So, I might play some mods that do cover that. There are some good multiplayer mods, but I would not be playing them with recording. I have played all sorts of my recording would mainly be a campaign style series. It's pretty fun. It's kind of like if you've seen Kingdom Come, if you fast traveled everywhere. So yeah, that's Mount & Blade Warband for you. And the combat system is, as you can see, not bad but limited in that sense. Yeah. Another option would be Men of War Assault Squad 2. Men of War Assault Squad 2 is a Battlefield strategy game. The vanilla is based in World War II, however, I most definitely will be using mods. The reason for this is because the models for the units are kind of, I don't want to say cringy, but they're not presentable, if that makes sense. They're not bad graphically, they're just not good. So currently I'm using Valor, which I'm better skins, and a lot of other stuff. And speaking of mods, the modding community for this game is really good. I would be definitely using this mod because it covers a lot of eras the mods do that the game does not, and it covers also a lot of theaters. So it covers like the mod would help. Like I could do a Russian Civil War, but there are some mods that aren't in existence yet to cover things like the Spanish Civil War and such. On the other hand, the game is basically only limited to your computer's power. You can add as much stuff so long as your computer can handle it. So like you can have endless amount of tanks basically in the editor. Even though you can do that in Arma, I would say it's less draining on your computer somewhat. I think a lot of things are destructible, not everything though. But it still makes for some pretty fun gameplay, I would have to say. Civ 5 will be one of the options. I have almost all the DLCs except for I think about 2 maybe, but I wouldn't be really using any mods for this because I don't feel it necessary unless if I or you guys felt like I should play a unique faction or play with a unique faction, specifically in like teams and stuff, which could be an option. But if you don't know what Civ is, which I would be surprised by, surprisingly, it's a civilization builder. It also seems to be a very good game for colonizing, for making colonies and such, because of the fact that it's not like Total War and many other games where the settlements are set. You make the settlements and you decide where they are basically. And so that I think is a really cool, unique thing. And it definitely would not be just one short video, it would have to be a series.
You can use the right mouse button to direct.
Not work for obvious reasons, I think. And that's, I think, Civ 5. Attila Total War will be another option. The Total War series, if you don't know, is a series of games that mainly focuses on war and has predominantly been of historical periods, with the exception of Warhammer Total War and Warhammer Total War 2. I don't have either of those, as you can tell, because I'm really interested in history. But Attila Total War is unique because, unlike the others, it has a very unique style campaign. You're mainly trying to survive and avoid, or like kind of like a vulture, you're trying to survive. Either you can keep running from the Huns and from really cold temperatures, or you can basically feed off your enemies and what they have, which is the main kind of thing with the campaign. And I haven't really played the campaign, I would say, because of that. And it's not because I don't like it, it's because I'm just not used to it. So I find it hard to get used to, but I certainly would try if you guys wanted that. But the custom battles are quite fun as well, especially with, and modding wise, I think I would have to use some mods, because there are some really good mods. I have a medieval mod and a Game of Thrones mod, and they're really well done and they look really nice, so they'd be pretty fun to play around with. But they are only for custom battle, which I think I can see why, but I think custom battles for a Total War are really good and they're really fun to play sometimes. So that's Attila Total War as an option. So the final option is Shogun 2 Total War, probably my favorite Total War game. And up there with my most favorite games, I would have to say, in general. the reason for that is because not only does the game cover such a wide range, even though it requires DLCs, and don't worry, I have them all, but the mechanics are just really good, and so are the graphics. And also because I have such a great interest in Japanese history, of course I had to get this game. The vanilla game is based in Sengoku Jidai, but with all the DLCs it covers a much wider range of time period. So I have the Fall of Samurai DLC, which has the Boshin War, which is the most modern Total War game, you could say, undoubtedly. Even though it's in the 1860s, late 1860s, maybe early 70s, and then I think it's the Imagin War is the early period for Shogun 2, which I also have that campaign. It's very different from Attila in the fact that, especially in campaign, because unlike Attila, you're not trying to survive necessarily, you're trying to gain power. And the way you do that is in vanilla you try to gain power, and Imagin War I'm gonna call it now, because what you try to do is you try to become shogun in the Sengoku Jidai one, and the other one you try to become the most powerful family in Japan. So in the vanilla game you can conquer everything, all of Japan, but the problem is that if the shogun sees you as a threat, he will declare you enemy of the state, and everyone basically goes to war with you. Very rarely do they not. So that is always a problem, and makes the game more interesting as you try to avoid that. But you can't, and that's kind of why you want to be shogun also, because not just because it's the objective of the game, but because then not everyone declares war on you. And there are no starting factions that start off as shogun, obviously, because that would be too easy. A nice thing with the game is that each faction has a unique, not just unit, but they have a unique boost, I would say, a unique unit focus. For example, the clan I am playing as is Takade, and they have really good horsemen, so they have a bonus to cavalry, and I think they're cheaper or something, and they have a unique cavalry unit. Chokusabe, the clan I am playing against, has really good bowmen, and they also have a unique bowman unit. Now, in mod wise, I would definitely have to use a mod, because when they made, I think it was a patch or something, they made the two clans that had the better ninjas. The ninjas were worse than everyone else's ninjas. So there's a mod that fixes that, because for some reason they never fixed that. But that's the only real problem I have with the game. I wouldn't be using really any other mods. I would not be using cheat mods, because even though they do make it, I would say, funner, they can, but it wouldn't make it as interesting, I guess, and it would make it way too easy. I've done it before, but I will say also, it leads you to be too confident. So those are the main options, but otherwise you could leave it to my discretion if you do wish for me just to choose, but it would be more random, so it would not be consecutive of the same game. That will be definitely an option. So go ahead and vote.